instruction video on how to edit a Corjl item. We're going to be using a Christmas card template, but it's the same concept pretty much on any item. Not all of our listings have this user guide included. We have been adding that, but if you don't see it, that's why. This one had two different options in it. They're both a 7x5, so they're a horizontal Christmas card. But one we included with the word Christmas, Merry Christmas, and one with Happy Holidays. So you would just click on either one. I'm going to click on this one, and the really critical part is to go down to the bottom right where it says layers, because a lot of times if you have text that's close to each other, you won't be able to grab on it. So by going to layers, you can. And I'm going to actually hit revert because I had made some changes on this one. Okay, so I reverted it back to how the template arrived. So if I go to layers and then click on this little arrow down to the right of the word layers, it pulls these up, and then I can either click on an item, like click on 2022, and it highlights it here. Or I can click on 2022 down in the layers panel if that's what I'm wanting, and it clicks it, it highlights it, and it puts it up here. So let's say I want to change that to 2024. I can either just hold my mouse down and highlight over the 20 or the last two if I want to put a 4 there, or if you are on your phone and you don't have the ability to do that, you can just backspace out of it, change whatever you want. I'm going to put it to 2024. Okay, so there's my new information there. These little boxes, you can just make it's best to do it if you're going to be centering things, to just hold it down and make it actually fit, because then it centers properly. So if I wanted this centered on my card, I've moved this little circle, or pulled onto it, held the mouse down, and I moved it over. Okay, now I'm going to click on it. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go down to Align to Artboard, and then while that's there, I'm going to go to Horizontal Center, and that'll center it on my page. Now if I wanted to, I can let go of it if I want, and let's say I go, oh wait, I wanted to change that color. I can click on it again. Over here is my panel that shows my fonts, my size, my color. So let's say I click on the red here. Sometimes we will have preset colors, like on an invitation, let's say, that has maybe pink, purple, and blue. And so we'll have them all here, but you don't have to use those. Let's say you say, I really want green. So you click on the green shades in here, and then you can go into this box and move it around until you see a shade that maybe you like. So maybe you say, that looks a little bit more like the hunter in the trees. I want to go with that. Or if you say, no, I really want to take it back to red, just hit the preset. If you say, I really want this to be bigger, let's say it's at a 27 right now, I can just scroll down and I can pick a size. I can say 36. I can also highlight over it and put my own number. Maybe I want to put in 30. Maybe a size wasn't in the templates and I really wanted it kind of in between. So you can do that. Then let's say I just don't like that font. You can come to this right here where it says April Fat Face. That's the name of this font. And you can scroll down, and you can choose from different fonts. So maybe I say I like that font right there. Or if I say no, and then if I want to change the font, because maybe now or the font size, maybe now it changed the size of it and I want it bigger, then I can let go of that and go back to that. But if I say, no, I just really want to use the April, it was a nice block font, then there it is. Then let's say I want to obviously change the names. I click here, or again, go down into your panels. But if I'm right here, I can just backspace and delete it. I can highlight it all, and then hit delete, backspace on my keyboard. And then I can type in the message. I can put in like, love, Bonnie, and Chris, and I can say their name. Now see, it just carried over to 2 lines. Well, let's say I'm okay with that. The first thing I would have to do is I'd have to move this up a little bit maybe. The next thing would be, if my spacing is really wide and I don't want it that wide, I highlight what I want. I've clicked on it, so it's showing here. This line right here, I click on it and I can change the line height. So we're at 1 inch. Well, let's say I say that's just too much. Now I have to go under an inch, so maybe I say 0.8. Then it's a little bit closer, not so far apart. And then I just manually hold on to them with my cursor and I move them to where I want. And then if this is interfering, then again I can go here, change the font size, and now we're good. But if I say, no, I really just want it on one line, then I just take this, again, these little dots, pull it until it fits. Now it fits, and I say, okay, now I can move it down. Well, let's say I really want to write a personal message, just, one quick line on one card that I'm planning to print. Or maybe I want to do it on everybody's card. If I want to do it on just one person's card, then I can add my text, that I'll show you how, and add my pictures, of course. And then I could do save, download, and then that one's done, and I could maybe label it. If it's going to my Aunt Barbara, then I might write a little note here that says, "Hi Aunt Barbara, hope you're doing well." Save hers, download hers as her name, and then hers would be printed just by itself. But let's say I just want to write to everybody the same message. So I go up here to the top where it says add text box. I click on it. It put it in, it always puts it right in the middle. So it's still highlighted, you can see it. I pull it down just to get it somewhere where I can see it. And then now I would hover over, let me let go of it, there we go. My text, I double click on it, and I can write, we hope you have a great new year. And I can put an exclamation, and then I can say, let's pull this out. But what if I say, that looks really crowded, I don't want it there. Even if I change the font, it might be a little different. But let's say I say, I really want it underneath the name, or right above the name maybe. So what I could do is I could move up my date, just so that it fits right under. I could move this down, and then I could take this one and stretch out the side so that it's longer. And I can put it here, and then again, I get this aligned to artboard. I right click to get that, and I go up to horizontal, and now it's centered. But if I say, I really don't want that to be such a bold font, since the name isn't, I could always change the name if I wanted, but I could change this one, and I know Bentham is a good one. So I can either highlight or click on this right here and pull down until I get to the one I want, Bentham. Or if I already know the font name, I can just highlight it and type it, and it'll pull it up. See, it just brought it up as I started typing it. So then I say, okay, I don't really want 15.938. Let's just make it an even 16. Then there's my font. Now again, if I take it closer to the edges so that there's not so much border, it'll center it properly that way. And then I'll go to this right here, and horizontal again. Okay. So then if I say, I really want that to be separate from the name, then maybe as far as the coloring, it might blend in too much. I could even swap it out, and I could say this one should go to red, but now I don't want it to be red. So now I could click on this, I could go into the color, and now I can choose a black. Okay, so that's how you would add a message. Or like I said, if you wanted to do an individual, you can do them individually that way. So now we're going to add pictures. Now there's two ways to add a picture. The first way is click right here on the first one. See, it says click here to change image. Click the blue button on the right that says replace image, and then upload your photo. So right here, as soon as I clicked on it, you see that I have a replace image. This box will appear. I can do one of things. I can either click on this and it will look for the file. I can tell it, like if I had a file on my desktop that was photos, I would click here and it would direct me to it. Or I can put the pictures, which is what I'm doing right here. I put the pictures right on my desktop, and now I just clicked on one of the pictures, and I drag it right into here, and I let go, and there it is, and I hit save. And this will take a couple of minutes, or a couple seconds to process, probably 5 or 10. And then once it does, I can either adjust the picture right away, or I can go ahead and get all my pictures on. So I'm going to go ahead and get all my pictures on, and then we'll adjust them. So let's say I want to put this one in the center. Oopsie, I didn't hit replace. See, it didn't do anything. So I hit replace. Now I see that box. I put this one right in here, and I hit save. And then I have one more picture to put in over here. And let me wait for that. Okay, so now that, replace image, and I'm going to drag that over here, and I hit save. Okay, and if I decided that I really wanted the order to be different, that's not a problem. You can do that again, and I'll show you what I would do on that. As soon as this one processes. Okay. All right. Now, let's say if I decided I really, for some reason, think this looks better over here and this looks better over here, I just click on my pictures again, click here, hit replace, and do it. It'll come up and you do it again. Okay, so now if I say, you know, these are really not zoomed in, I want them zoomed in, I want them centered, whatever. I click on the picture, these edges, these little dots, I just pull it until my picture gets to the size I want. Now we already have little boxes here, so it's only going to fit into the frame. So now I say it's off-centered, so let's go to the right. And you see it didn't make the picture come off, it didn't move the picture over here, it just moved it in here, and then it's more centered that way. And then again on this one I say the same thing. I say let's just take that. Now obviously a picture like this would depend on, if you really want it centered, you're going to probably lose some of maybe the tree, and maybe since it's a Christmas card you want the tree on there, so you have to decide that on how far you want to center it. So there's that, and then I just hold the cursor down and move my picture wherever I feel like the placement is good. Okay, and then we'll go to this one and we'll do the same thing. We'll stretch it out. See, it stays within the box, and then I can stretch the other side if I want, so that it's even more zoomed in. And there's that. Now, if we click on something, I'm clicking on Merry Christmas, and it doesn't do anything. That is because on this card, we were using a font that had a design in it, and it would be really a pain for you to try to edit it and keep that there. So that is why on this one we left Merry Christmas as that you can't edit it, and that's why you also have a Happy Holidays option if you preferred that. So if you click on it and nothing is happening, that's why. And then you can look down here and say there's no Merry Christmas, that's why. If there was a Merry Christmas here, then you could. That would mean that there is a file to edit, like the name, that's editable. We hope you have a great new year, that was editable. Now, if all of a sudden I decide, you know what, I really don't want this message on here, I can just go like this. We hope you have a, and I can delete it. And I just did Control Z, and it brought it back if I just instantly decided, no, I do want it. So I showed you the color change, the size, the placement, the centering, adding this new text box right here that wasn't already here. We did add text box. I showed you how you can change the font, move things around, that this is not editable, how to change the pictures, how to hold on to the little dots on them to stretch them out so you can zoom in them. Now, if something happened and you said, wow, what did I do? I really don't like these at all, and you just want to start over, you just hit revert and it'll take it back to how the template arrived to you. Or let's say you're doing one next year and you want totally different pictures and a different year and whatever, you could just highlight over them, you know, click on them, change it that way, or you can just say revert and start all over. So if I was good with this, I would hit Save Changes, Okay, so now it has been saved. And then this is where I was saying if you wanted to type a message just to one particular person, you would hit Save Changes, you would download it, label it in your record so you know whose it is, and then you would start over and do the next ones. But if you're making everybody's the same, you're only going to have to do the Save Changes one time. You can do this as many times as you need. You can also use this one too, this template we have here. If maybe somebody doesn't celebrate Christmas, you could do some with Happy Holidays. Let's say you're giving some to coworkers and you don't really want to say love, but you want to put love on your family ones. You can do different versions. Just complete them, save them, download it, label it so you know, and then go back and do the next version. So like do the one without love first, save it, then go back in and save, again with love or with from, whichever. And then you can always go back and make changes. Now you can also use paperless post if you're planning to send this via text. That's a little different though, so you can Google paperless post to find out a little bit more about that. You can also have your prints ordered through Prints of Love for the price depends on all the different options you choose, quantity, size, etc. But that's where you would go for that, and we do have a discount code in there that you'll get as well. But now if I'm ready to just download this, I have a couple options. I'm going to hit download. If you're doing this as an individual print, where you're going to print it at like Walgreens or Prints of Love, something like that, you want to print it, you want to change it to JPEG and print it as a JPEG so it prints it as an individual file. If you plan to print this at home or at a store that they're going to print it on 8.5 by 11 and it'll print 2 on a page and then you're going to cut it out, then you would do PDF. But for this one, for JPEG, I'm going to go, and this one is also, we're doing this as just a flat or a one-sided. We're not doing this as a double-sided. If you were doing a double-sided, it would be a couple extra steps. So here I'm going to do a JPEG. I'm going to hit next. Now I don't want any trim marks because if I'm sending this to Walgreens, let's say, like Walgreens only accepts JPEG, so you only could do JPEG. You would just print it, you would just download it like this, and you could just say just page 1, that's all you're having, and you would just hit download JPEG, and that's it. If you are going to print this at home, let's say 2 on a sheet on cardstock, and then you're going to cut them out, you would download it as a PDF. And this is, trim marks are good for that purpose because then you'll see where to cut it once it gets printed. You can then again go to just page 1. It's an 8.5 by 11 at that point, and then 2 are going to print on a sheet, and then you hit download PDF. And so I think that would probably answer most of the questions that you would have. There are a few other things here for spacing vertically. There's, if you want to center text, you can do things right-sided. If you want to just delete something completely and you just feel, for whatever reason, prefer to type it in yourself and set up this add text box and do it that way, you can do that. And otherwise, that's about it. And then when you get done, you can just hit Save Changes again just to make sure everything's good, and then log back in whenever you need to. It does not expire. We used to only offer 180 days on downloads. Now they don't have an expiration date, and they can be downloaded as many times as you need. The only exception is for people who have tried to buy templates and sold them. That is not allowed. These are for personal use only, and if we do see, because it will show us how many times it's being downloaded, if we see somebody that has an excessive amount where it's obviously more than what one person would use, then we might have to limit your downloads. And but otherwise, that's it. So it's pretty much the same on any file, invitation, tag, welcome sign. It's all the same thing. It's just really the important thing is to remember the layers down here, because sometimes when things are this tight, you click on something and it might click on the name, and then you're trying to figure out why you can't edit the name. It's because it might just be too close that it's not detecting which one you're actually clicking on. So I hope that helps. Take care. Bye-bye.